why can't we have 100% close rate? If you're selling the same stuff installed the same way by the same people using the same tools, more or less the same amount of time for more or less the same price, why can't we close 100% of deals? If we get leads from the same places, these are the same homeowners, right? It never will be 100%, but we should ask ourselves, what's missing from our sales process that's preventing us? Because accepting that 25 to 30 is just the standard, and that for some reason, 70% of customers always have to pick someone else with every single salesperson, then it becomes simple. You just have to replicate the human DNA, and you have to duplicate their ability to follow the process and use the system to track it. From there, we just have to know the same 5 things on every deal, which is how much money can we make? We presented them with 3 options. What's the most likely one? When do we expect to make it? Usually we have to find out before we leave the house. If they're not buying, when are they buying? When do they anticipate making this decision? And then if they didn't buy, we should know why. Why don't we have this money yet? And then based on our ability to train our salespeople, there should be a plan. What are we going to do to get that money? And finally, we should have a plan for when we're going to do that, because you can't have one sales rep following up with 300 leads. They can't contextually understand the human beings that are required to do that. And so our goal is to have this view in your system that you can always answer this question. And so I want to show you that view. So in this view, this is a client that paid 200 grand for their CRM. I brought this up when I said, hey, you're not hitting your goals. What's going on with this view? And he said, I don't know about that. I was like, well, that's interesting, because I literally taught that view to you when I was on site. I was there. I built it. I showed your sales team that. And then when you guys were wanting a refresh on your training, we held a group training, kind of like this webinar, where 3 companies came and learned this exact information. But we can find out how much can we make, when can we make it, close date, why don't we have it yet? And they've actually done something that I think is like the level 2 of this, which is where they put categories, because all objections come out as circumstances, others, or self. There's a circumstantial reason they're not buying, someone else they've abdicated their power to in making this decision. You strip away those 2, you empower the person to make a decision. Then there's an inability to make the decision because they don't feel confident or they don't feel competent. And it's usually based on something that happened in the past, present, or they're worried about happening in the future. Those are all the objections you get. The only other one is you suck and they don't believe you, right? So that comes down to training. From there, you have objection notes, right? So they just have split this into 2, but it's how much can we make? When can we make it? Why don't we have it yet? Objection. What are we going to do about it? Next step. And then when are we going to do that? But if I look at other clients, they have this a lot better filled out. And if I look at other clients, they're starting to come along. This is the rate at which we create change in a business. Because if we can't fill this out, if we can't know this about every single deal in our system, if we can't know this, then everything else will not work. Because this is a very simple part of our process. Some part of being of a salesperson that allows them to get more no's than yeses and not be sad, right? If you took an accountant and if they suffered that level of rejection, they would find another career. If you took a production manager and made them suffer that much rejection, they would get another career. But salespeople do not. They're a competent, trained individual who is incentivized to help the outside sales make more money by giving a better customer experience. And one of those things is understanding the relationship with the customer and creating a vehicle in which the outside sales can have that. And if we can adopt that, we can build from there. Because generally, actually not generally, like absolutely, if you know that about every deal, you will then be able to run your sales department better and you will be able to close more deals.